He was arrested for resisting, unaware that his mother was the city prosecutor. What happened next will shock even the toughest of hearts. But let's start from the very beginning. A dark evening. The streets of the city are consumed by shadows. The air carries the scent of dampness, reflecting off the wet sidewalks. Jamal, 17 years old, a black teenager with headphones in his ears, walks down a familiar street, heading home after school. He's in his usual attire: jeans, a dark band t-shirt, and old sneakers. In his hands, a backpack filled with books and notebooks. The familiar rhythm of returning home almost every evening gives him a sense of security. But tonight will be different. As Jamal turns the corner, his steps are abruptly interrupted by the screeching sound of braking tires. A patrol car emerges from the darkness, sharply stopping beside him. Two police officers step out of the car. The first, the senior officer, Hunter, a white man in his mid-40s with a stern and suspicious expression on his face, walks toward him. His younger partner nervously watches the situation unfold. "Hey, where are you going?" Hunter asks, blocking Jamal's path. Jamal feels a little scared, but tries to stay calm. "Just heading home," he replies, taking out his headphones. "Nothing strange. People don't just walk around this neighborhood at this hour," Hunter continues, his voice full of suspicion. He eyes Jamal, as if he's already guilty of something. "What are you hiding? What's in that backpack?" Jamal, sensing that they're trying to provoke a confrontation, takes a step back, feeling the tension rise. He doesn't want trouble, but he has an instinctive feeling that this situation might end badly. "I'm just going home," he repeats, trying to sound confident. "What's the problem?" But Hunter isn't listening. He grabs him by the shoulder and pulls him closer, roughly, and without warning. "Don't walk away, kid. Are you resisting me?" Hunter loudly declares, his eyes turning cold. Jamal feels his heart pounding. He doesn't understand what's happening, why he's being accused so quickly and without reason. He tries to pull his hand away, to distance himself from the officer, but Hunter grabs him tighter. "I'm not resisting," Jamal shouts, feeling panic rising within him. But Hunter doesn't listen. He handcuffs him roughly and forcefully pushes him toward the car. "You're resisting now. You'll stay right here." Hunter sneers as Jamal, trying to struggle, loses his balance and falls. Everything happens so quickly that Jamal can't make sense of it. His thoughts are muddled. Why is this happening? For what reason? He knows what he needs to do. Call his mother. She'll always support him. She'll be able to do something. In his panic, he pulls out his phone, not realizing that this might only make things worse. "Mom, they're arresting me," he says, his voice shaking with fear. "Don't worry, son. I'm on my way." Laura, the city prosecutor, responds, her voice confident but tinged with concern. Everything is happening too fast. Jamal feels the fear turning into deep panic, but at the same time, there's a flicker of hope. His mother, she's always been there. She'll stop this. When Laura arrives at the station, she wastes no time with explanations. She heads straight for the duty officer. The police clearly didn't expect her to show up. Seeing her, they start to fluster, looking slightly confused. Laura doesn't look away until she finds someone who can help. "Where is my son?" she asks coldly, her voice cutting off any resistance. The officer, noticing the resolve in her eyes, silently points to a door, behind which Jamal is sitting in a cell. He's handcuffed, his eyes filled with fear and confusion. He tries to mask his disarray, but it's obvious. Laura approaches, sits beside him. "Mom, I didn't resist. I don't understand why they're doing this to me," he says softly, but the pain is clear in his voice. Laura places a hand on his shoulder, her eyes meeting his with deep concern. "We'll sort this out. This isn't your fault, son. You shouldn't have had to go through this," she reassures him, though inside her anger and pain burn. She knows this moment will be a turning point for their family. Laura quickly finds the person who should have helped with the paperwork, but realizes they need to go further. She demands the video footage from the surveillance cameras along the route where the arrest took place. Within minutes, the footage is in her hands. She barely holds back her fury as she watches. The video clearly shows Jamal walking peacefully down the street when Hunter approaches him and grabs him without cause. Before Jamal can even understand what's happening, they start dragging him toward the car. His face in the footage shows no aggression, only confusion and growing disbelief. "Here's everything we need," Laura says, showing the officers the footage. The officers, though trying to defend themselves, begin to look uncertain. Hunter attempts to justify his actions, claiming they were necessary because Jamal was allegedly acting aggressively, but the video once again disproves his version of events. Laura knows that this is a result of systemic racism and bias. With each step, her confidence grows. She demands an official investigation and declares that she will fight for justice. The police start to get nervous. The media storm following the video is immediate. An article in the local newspaper with the headline, "Teenager arrested for resisting, despite evidence of police bias," grabs attention. The video spreads rapidly on social media, racking up millions of views. People begin to rally behind Jamal. Activists, supported by the local community, organize protests, demanding truth and justice. A few days later, Laura decides to hold a press conference. Her face reflects calm and determination, but there is a fire burning in her eyes. The cameras roll, and Laura speaks, staring directly into the lens. "This isn't just my son's case. This is the case of every black teenager who faces this kind of treatment. We will not stay silent. We will not tolerate this. It must change." With each word she speaks, the tension in the air grows. More and more people rally behind Jamal, and the police find it harder to defend themselves. Laura continues to address the public, supporting protests and collaborating with human rights organizations. Meanwhile, Hunter and his colleagues begin to realize that the situation is spiraling out of control. The anger and pain of the people are becoming a real force. Jamal, in the meantime, feels his life changing. He understands that he's not alone anymore. His mother is fighting for his rights, and in doing so, for the rights of all who face racial discrimination. After weeks of public pressure, investigations, and protests, Hunter resigns. He publicly admits that his actions were wrong, though he tries to justify them by saying he was following orders. But his departure is not the end. It's just the beginning of a process that demands even deeper changes. Laura and Jamal don't rest. Laura knows that the system won't change overnight. She continues to work on reforms aimed at eliminating racial bias in the police. Jamal, feeling his inner strength, decides to become an active participant in these changes. He openly declares his intention to fight for a more just society, acknowledging that this experience has changed his life forever. He now understands that the fight for rights is not only for adults, it is his fight, the fight of his generation. Each day, Jamal and Laura continue their mission to reform the system. Together with activists, human rights defenders, and public support, they begin a movement that will impact the future. Jamal and Laura's story becomes a symbol of the importance of fighting for justice, equality, and against a system that has long ignored the rights of black people. The story ends with Jamal standing beside his mother, holding a sign that reads, "The fight for justice continues." With every step he takes, with every statement he makes, he strengthens his position in this world. This is only the beginning.